In honor of Magic's return to the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, I am counting down the 10 most iconic dinosaurs in Magic's history. Some of these should hopefully surprise you. Let's get started with number 10, Pym Allosaurus. For 2 and a green, we get a 2/2 Summon Dinosaur with Swamp Walk. But what makes this little guy so special? Well, this is actually the first card ever printed with the dinosaur creature type in the history of the game, way back in Ice Age. But he went through some interesting changes over the course of its history. To coincide with the release of Lorwyn in 2007, Wizards of the Coast updated the creature types for 1,197 cards in what would be called the Grand Creature Type update. The dinosaur creature type was removed from the game altogether, and Pym Allosaurus was errata to be a lizard. But then in 2017, with the launch of the first Ixalan expansion, which would introduce a ton of new dinosaurs, 14 cards had their creature types updated. The Pym Allosaurus became a dinosaur once again. This list of updated cards also included the Fungusaur from Alpha, which would now be a fungus dinosaur. So although the Fungusaur is the first dinosaur by errata, the Pym Allosaurus holds the title of being the first card with the type dinosaur actually printed on the card. What a ride for this little guy. And in at number 9, Rotting Regisaur. For 2 and a black, we get a 7/6 zombie dinosaur. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card. This card is absolutely massive for only 3 mana and has been an all-star in a variety of decks in multiple formats. The drawback isn't really even a drawback when you build around it properly. When it was in Standard, it paired with things you didn't mind having in the graveyard, like Gutter Bones and Cauldron Familiar, or you could just slap an Embercleave on it and smash for 16 out of nowhere. In Pioneer, you can run it in Greasefang to pitch your Parhelion. It even sees some play in Legacy and Cube. And let's be real, the card is just plain cool, a giant zombie dinosaur. Number 8, Zalpa Primal Dawn. For 6 white, we get a 4/8 legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur. Has flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. Anyone who has bought a Commander Precon or 2 in the last 6 years has played with this card. Wizards can't help but reprint this card over and over again as a generic giant creature that must be killed. It was first printed in Rivals of Ixalan, reprinted in Commander 2019 in the Jeskai Flashback deck, in Game Night 2019, in Commander 2020 in the Symbiotic Swarm deck, Commander 2021 in the Silver Quill Statement deck, DMU Commander in the Legends Legacy deck, in the Commander Master set, and of course now in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan Commander deck, Velociraptor. Look forward to its reprint next year as the big finisher in another random Commander deck. Number 7, Itali Primal Conqueror. 5 red for a 7/7 legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, has trample. When it enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. For 9 and a green Phyrexian mana, you can transform Itali as a sorcery, and it becomes Itali Primal Sickness, a legendary creature, Phyrexian Elder Dinosaur. It's an 11/11 with trample and indestructible. And when it deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters, enough for them to lose the game. This one is the most recent addition to the list, but has already made a massive impact on the game. The card was featured in a bunch of decks at the World Championships and the Arena Championships in 2023 as a reanimation target for the Cruelty of Gix and Virtue of Persistence. It's now also featured as a key reanimation and ramp target in the most recent iterations of the Magic Online Vintage Cube, a collection of some of the most powerful cards in Magic history. It'll be interesting to see how long it stays, but you'll be seeing this card ending games on Vintage Cube streams for a while to come. And it's becoming a popular inclusion in a wide variety of Commander decks playing red, thanks to its potentially game-ending ETB that scales with the number of players in the game. Number 6, Sakama Primal Calamity. For 6 red, green, white, we get a 9/9 legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, with vigilance, reach, and trample. And when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, untap all lands you control. And it has a couple of activated abilities. For 2 and a red, deal 3 damage to target creature. 2 and a green, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And 2 and a white, you gain 3 life. I mean, it's a 9/9 with 3 heads. It was obviously going to make this list. It's hard to not think of this guy when compiling a list of iconic dinosaurs. It sees play out of the sideboard of the Lotus Field combo deck in Pioneer, one of the top decks in the format. That deck wants to ramp out giant stuff, and this certainly fits the bill. And when you cast Sakama, it untaps your Lotus Fields, letting you use them again in the same turn to cast something else, or to just start activating Sakama's abilities. It's also a popular commander, leading other powerful dinosaurs into battle. Number 5, Zeltha Strength Incarnate, aka Godzilla, King of the Monsters. For 3 red-green, we get a 7/3 legendary creature Dinosaur, has trample. Lethal damage dealt to creatures you control is determined by their power rather than their toughness. With the launch of Ikoria in April of 2020, Wizards of the Coast announced there would be cards themed after Godzilla included in the set. These would have their in-universe name printed on them as well. It made sense thematically for Ikoria, the land of giant monsters, and for fans of Godzilla, it created a ton of excitement. These cards were available as box toppers in Ikoria booster boxes. However, just one was available as a buy-a-box promo, which was, of course, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, aka Zeltha. Shortly after was the launch of the Walking Dead Secret Lair, and the Universes Beyond train has not slowed down since. However you feel about Universes Beyond and Magic, it all started with Zeltha. Number 4, Thrashing Brotodon. For 1 green, it's a 3/4 dinosaur. Pay 1, sacrifice the Brotodon, destroy target artifact or enchantment. This isn't the most exciting card on the list, but honestly might be the dinosaur you see the most out in the wild when you're actually playing games of Magic. It's been in Standard pretty much non-stop since it was first printed in Rivals of Ixalan. It was reprinted in M20, M21, and now Lost Caverns of Ixalan. As long as green is viable, you'll see this guy floating around. You can't go wrong with a slightly above rate creature that can beat down and be cashed in for one of your opponent's permanents in a pinch. It's a staple in Commander as well, obviously seeing play alongside powerful dinosaur commanders, but also slots nicely into Corvold that cares about sacrifice, and Muldrotha decks that interact with the graveyard. Number 3, Gishath Son's Avatar. For 5 red-green-white, we get a 7/6 legendary creature Dinosaur Avatar. It has trample, vigilance, and haste. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put any number of dinosaur creature cards from among them onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is the 21st most popular commander, period, according to EDH Rec, which is an incredible accomplishment. And this really is the obvious choice to helm a deck chock full of them. And it's getting a reprint in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, so besides your Commander Knight, you might even be seeing him in some standard queues soon. Number 2, Galta Primal Hunger. For 10 green, we get a 12/12 legendary creature Elder Dinosaur, but this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control, and of course, it has trample. This is officially the biggest dinosaur in Magic history. The character of Galta has appeared on 2 other cards as well, Galta and Maverin from March of the Machine, and Galta Stampede Tyrant coming soon in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which are both also 12/12s, but Galta Primal Hunger was the first. In its time in Standard, it saw play in Mono Green Stompy alongside cards like Llanowar Elves, Steel Leaf Champion, and the Thrashing Brotodon. It even saw some play in Pioneer and Golgari Beatdown decks as a follow-up play to Rotting Regisaur. And Galta is another card that you see floating around Commander tables, leading his own decks, and as a powerful creature in the 99 to ramp into. And number 1, Colossal Dreadmaw. I'm sure you were getting nervous he wasn't on the list, but come on, was there really any other choice? A 6-mana 6/6 is just busted already, plus it has trample. It's no wonder this card has been printed 7 times, and 2 times back-to-back in Ixalan and the very next set, Rivals of Ixalan. It honestly should have seen 8 printings with the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I don't know what this thing is, but it's clearly just a strictly worse Colossal Dreadmaw. So that's the list. Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you made it this far, don't forget to drop a like and consider subscribing for future Magic videos just like this one. We'll see you next time.